Hey guys, Rebel95, recording live from a local county prison cell. I liked my video last week of where I was driving while I was doing the video, and I'm actually going to do that again today. And similar of things that I've done recently or in the past, this fight not only was decided by me 6 or 7 hours ago, it also involves a character that I've used twice already. So this fight is Mileena from Mortal Kombat and Azula from Avatar: Last Airbender. I've used Azula twice. One was against Kimiko from Shaolin Showdown, and one was against Yuri from Street Fighter. I don't know if I like this one better than Kimiko. I definitely like it better than Yuri, and Mileena versus Yuri is already like a thing. But I think this is probably, I would say it's a better Mileena fight than it is an Azula fight. But it is a good fight for both of them, I think. So, we'll get into it. So, Mileena is the, not illegitimate, but kind of, I guess, sort of sister of, Katana and daughter of Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn made her using magic by combining Mileena's blood with Tarkatan blood. So she's half Tarkatan, which is why she has the fangs that she does. And it's where she gets a lot of her superhuman characteristics and a lot of her magic from. Magic including being able to teleport, being able to coat her weapons, her size with magic, being able to curl herself up into a ball and spin dash somebody. Yeah, as well as, like I said, those teeth that she can just bite somebody's face off with. And, and her just hunger for human flesh as well is part of her Tarkatan trait. And she gets typical sort of, MK-esque. I hate to use scaling for every character, but I mean, they do it, so why wouldn't I? Typical sort of MK-esque feats of strength and speed and whatnot. Though she has had difficulty with very human opponents, like Kano, for instance, has been able to hold his own against her. Now, Kano is a cybernetic person with, laser eye, but he is still more or less human. Aaron Black, dated her for a while. Things like that, he didn't date her. He dated Scarlett. Oh, never mind. But, no, point is, so she was an important asset to Shao Kahn in his attempt to take over Outworld. And she's done a lot of manipulating on her own. After Shao Kahn's death, she actually went to tried to kill Kotal Khan and usurp the throne and take it back for her family. So she's definitely manipulative, when it comes to her pursuit of power, as is her opponent. And that's kind of the theme of the fight, is that it's these, two princesses of evil dictators who, play these huge roles. It's easier to just do it by vibes than it is to explain it verbally. But, Azula. So, Azula is Zuko's, I believe I think she's older than him. It's his older sister. And whereas she's kind of the reason Zuko has a chip on his shoulder, because whereas Zuko tried his entire life to pretty much, please and serve his father, Azula pretty much was able to do it from the get-go by being a complete prodigy. before Zuko had mastered any forms of firebending, she had mastered, what was it, like 14 different forms? Or different, like, stances or whatever you'd call it? Yeah, and that's where the phrase, you know, she was born lucky, you were lucky to be born, you know, came from. And, yeah, and she certainly is her father's daughter, because not only is she not only is she an incredibly talented firebender, she also is an evil, sadistic, manipulative, power hungry, just like she basically single-handedly usurped the throne of Ba Sing Se. She got herself captured to be able to ambush the Avatar, be able to ambush Aang and his group when her firebending was turned off. She but Azula's biggest kind of weakness, not in physically, is her psyche. When she like many sociopaths, she hates the things she can't control, and she hates when she's not feared, she loses control of something. So after May and Ty Lee left her, she kind of lost her grip on things, even though she was the daughter of Fire Lord Ozai, who was on the verge of conquering the world, pretty much. Her psyche still kind of became fractured because two pawns she had at her disposal wouldn't stay in position. And that makes her potentially even more dangerous. I mean, she started seeing, her mother, who had been long captured and gone for a long time. She started, she tried to have her maids fight to the death. She becomes a very dangerously, unstable person, which is very terrifying because, like I said, she is an incredibly talented firebender. She's able to wield blue fire, which is a specific genetic trait, essentially, used in firebending, that only her and a few others have access to. If we suggest that it's blue fire in the same way that gas-powered fire or fueled fire is, that would make it umpteen times hotter than regular fire. And like her father, she is capable of shooting lightning from her fingers. Whereas Zuko is only capable of redirecting it, she's actually able to completely just generate it, which is actually where Zuko learning to redirect it was the whole point, because he learned from, these lesser nations to, he learned a technique from these lesser nations that Azula set out to conquer, right? That was the symbolism of how, accepting and choosing peace was to, was going to bring you, success over, right? Respect over fear and all that. Yeah, but no, she can just shoot lightning from her fingers, which is also an incredibly advanced firebending technique, which everybody can do by the end of Legend of Korra, or by the beginning of Legend of Korra, actually. So, and yeah, firebending, as all bending, it comes from a, kind of spiritualist chi based, uh, place. And she, it stems from breathing, and it stems from formation and all of that. Um, so that could be relevant because she does, but she almost does it seamlessly. Like, she almost does not seem to need much like formation of any kind to do firebending. Like, she's just like flown through the air. Yeah, she can like fly using firebending by like shooting fire from her feet. Um she can, like, she's taken on all of Team Avatar pretty much at one time. Um Before. I mean, yeah, she's done it with Ty Lee uh and May as well, but she's taken on, I mean, uh she shot Aang out of his avatar state and put him into a coma for like 3 months by shooting lightning like into his spine. Like, she yeah, she's an incredibly dangerous opponent. And she's even able to notice like very minor weaknesses in her opponent. She's kind of predatory, so like playing volleyball against an opponent, she noticed that this one girl who was an insane volleyball player had like a fraction of a second's worth of hesitation on her one foot. So they won by targeting that side of her body. Yeah, she's phenomenal at like finding and exploiting weaknesses. But yeah, so who would win in this fight? This is tough to gauge because both of these characters are so different that there doesn't seem to be a lot of synergy. There doesn't seem to be a lot of like instance in this fight, where what this person does counters this, or what this person, right? It does just seem like two neutrally powerful characters fighting each other. That being said, they both do seem to have things that the other just can't do, and that they don't really have an answer for. So, like, for instance, Azula can fly, like I said. Mileena can teleport, though. And I don't think either of those either character can really deal with either of those things. Mileena does seem to be able to teleport short distances. And Azula can't, like, I mean, okay, when I say fly, I mean, like, she can't, like, fly indefinitely. Firebending is like I said, has to do with breath and chi and all that stuff, so it is a limited thing that she can do. But it's more like she can glide or hover a bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, she can't like take off. Yeah, it's not like a rocket or anything. So I may have oversold both of those abilities. Mileena has like magic that she can throw. She can throw her weapons and have them return to her. But Azula has projectiles in both fire and in lightning, which is like borderline instantaneous. I mean, Zuko was able to reflect it, so like the whole point was that, I guess that means that Zuko's reaction time is super amazing. But yeah, so both of these characters kind of, I would say they're very evenly matched, but that's kind of where I draw my conclusion from. You see, like I said, Azula's main weakness isn't anything to do with her physical abilities, it's her psyche, right? It's her inability to control things. It's her inability to be feared. And Azula can definitely, Mileena has some weaknesses of her own, her ambition or her pride and all of that, but Azula has those same weaknesses. And even though Azula is a phenomenal tactician, she's great at, like I said, identifying weaknesses and exploiting them, she's not, and Mileena's very quick-tempered, so maybe Azula could take advantage of that, but ultimately, I think that because these two are so evenly matched, Azula's going to be the first one to get frustrated and break down, right? And while that does make her crazy and unpredictable, that does make her act a lot less smart. She does lose a lot of reason, and that is kind of her biggest weapon, is, her mind and her being able to manipulate the fight. So I think when that happens, yeah, that's probably where Mileena wins, I would think. Especially with things like especially with things that Azula can't counter, like teleportation, right? She's going to get very frustrated with the fact that this is an opponent she can't hit or outmaneuver. She might be able to outpredict her, she might be able to outthink her, but she can't dominate this opponent, and that's going to cause her to get frustrated and crack eventually. And then Mileena's gonna eat her face off. So yeah, that's how I see this fight going. It's not that either character is more powerful, it's just that one character kind of has an aptitude for wanting to completely win a fight rather than win it by the amount that she does. So yeah, I think Mileena's gonna win this fight, just based off of that. But good fight. Like I said, I think this probably should be the fight. If they don't do Azula Kimiko, which I still think is big because of the, shows being on around the same time and being similar and what that. But if they didn't do Azula versus Kimiko, I think this would be a really good Azula fight. Yeah, so anyway, Rebel Ninja 95. See ya.